business.
Oh,
Oh my God. I live in a dorm. I live in BBB.
not too much on BBB. That's where I lived my freshman year.
Hmm. Hmm.
They call it the projects of our
Hmm.
school, but y'all know no, like no.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, bet. Welcome to the Greater in Me
You know what I
podcast.
thought you were about to sing?
Welcome. Let me stop. To the Greater in Me
Um,
podcast.
yeah, Josh is. I've now come to terms that Josh is going to sing at the beginning of any
And
episode we
here's the
have.
thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You just got to be lit because I haven't seen one comment that say they don't like it. I'm lit. Like, welcome
Hmm.
to the Greater in Me podcast. Welcome to the
Okay.
Greater in Me podcast. Welcome to the Greater in Me podcast. I had a mic, I'll drop it. Like, welcome to the Greater in Me
You do have
podcast.
a
Like,
mic.
I'm like a handheld. Like, you stay trying to play me. Like, ugh.
Sorry.
We lit though. We live at 5. Actually, like live at 5.
Hmm.
It's your favorite news channel on culture. Like we're talking about culture. We're talking about life. We're talking about making decisions.
Is
Hello.
today's we can make today's episode on culture.
On
We actually
culture.
have no idea what we're supposed to be talking
I have a
about.
question to open us up though today.
Okay, perfect. Okay, wait. I'm Tara, and that's Josh.
And
Ask the question.
I'm Joshua. Cool. Um, ooh, fun. 15 years from now, how do you think our relationship will change?
Ooh, okay. 15 years from now, by God's grace and mercy, we will be married. Or like we'll at least have our people. Um,
No, I will be
fingers,
married.
toes, everything crossed. Yeah.
Lord.
But I assume that well, we have a plan. Us and our friend groups, we all need to live in close proximity. Cause once the babies start popping out, like we need a community. We're going to be that village
Gotta be
who
all the
raises our
same.
children together. Yeah. So 15 years from now, I see us living pretty close, with our people, with our community,
You know what's actually crazy
thriving.
about that is that none of us want to live in the same places at all.
Actually, I disagree because my whole friend group, for some reason, is torn between North Carolina and DC right now. We all also say, like, wherever you go, I'll go. So I just feel like we'll get it together eventually.
Is that sustainable? Because you're talking about some you want to be married. You're gonna tell your husband where you want to live? Like,
Well, it'll work out. Like, I just know it will.
hmm,
I also feel like we're
hmm.
all going to be in different places in 15 years. So, like, I think there's going to be some compromise, some give and take. And who knows, like, maybe we
For
won't all
sure.
live in the same state, but I think that, like, we'll be close and we'll be living the life where we can afford to just, like,
Me and my friends, shout out to Jalen and Yasmin, we said the same thing about raising our kids together because they got to know that they can't even date each other. Like, this is not an option. We're raising them like their brother and
you did
sister.
say this before, but I disagree, bro. Like, what?
Mm-mm,
If I
they
got a
don't.
son, you got a daughter? Hello? Like, why
No,
not?
no. Unless we're not, if we're living close, there's no way because they're going to be raised like brother and sister. If we're
I
far
guess so,
apart,
but you never heard that like
maybe.
storyline of like we were family
But
friend.
that's the thing. And that's the thing. If that happens, keep us out of it. I don't even want to know. Don't, I mean, you can let me know, but like, don't ask me for advice because nah. Because
You
what,
said this, yeah.
what happens is that it lets some stuff go down. Now I gotta protect my son. You gotta protect your daughter. Like,
And what, we're not
and
supposed to talk anymore? Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not gonna happen. We gonna be good regardless. So, whatever they decide to do on their foolish behavior and their young interness, I'm gonna lead them to leave it over there. Like,
Yeah.
can't be doing all of that.
Hmm.
I'll write another one, another fun one. I got two. Can I ask two? You can do whatever I want. It's my show.
Okay.
What would you warn your part? What would you warn my partner about me?
Well, you start with me because I gotta think on
Right,
you.
right. Um,
Can I try you? Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna warn your partner. Ooh. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna let him know that. Um, I'm gonna let him know that you just need to be. He needs to be present, and not present in a sense like obviously he's gonna be present like in your relationship, but
Hmm.
he needs to be like alert. How do I say it? He needs to have a say, basically. Like he needs to make his say be known. Because I
Hmm.
think what it is that sometimes people try to like, stay in their place and stay in like, oh, like I'm gonna let you do you. Nah, you very much want the I just lost my train of thought like about the word. You want that confirmation. You know what I'm saying?
Communication.
No, validation is the word I'm looking for. You want the
Okay. Yeah.
validation from him in some
Yeah.
sense. Um,
Yeah.
and I might also warn him too that you might just tip off the rocks every now and then.
Okay.
But yeah,
What would I warn your partner about? I don't know. No, because don't even do that. It's not that you're like a perfect being, but it's just like maybe it's just because like I know how our relationship flows. I'm assuming it's gonna be the same way with your partner, if not better or stronger. In that like you're pretty good at
yes.
communicating. I never really have to second guess anything. Like we've talked about this though, but we kind of like we know each other's intention and we know that we like are rooting fully for the other person. So it's like even if you do say something that's like criticizing or whatever, like I know where it's coming from. So I don't really
What's the warning?
know. No, I know that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Okay,
Wait, but
perfect.
I
Y'all
want to
hear
actually
that?
think of one because you're
Y'all
not
hear that?
perfect.
No, no, no. Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Future babe, you out there. Girl, I love you.
No, 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 no.
Hit
Okay,
me
here's the
up.
thing about Josh. Here's the
Now you guys understand.
I feel like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, guys. I'm gonna think about it throughout the
Say
episode, and
it.
maybe I'll be
No,
able
why
to
don't
say
you
at
say
the
it?
end.
Why
No, like
don't you
I
say
actually
it?
don't know. I was
Uh,
trying to like act like I had something to. I like don't know.
so future babe, if you hearing me, you hear me. If I haven't already hit you up,
Okay, here's the thing
hit me
about Josh.
up.
He thinks he's a pimp.
Hit Pimp Master J, Pimp Master J on the track, Pimp Master J on the track. You
Okay.
feel me? Like
Okay.
what? Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think I'm a pimp for real because they're gonna take that the wrong way and think I'm a hoe. Relax.
No, 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 no.
Uh,
I can't fault your confidence though, because it's not like I wouldn't. Whatever. I'm not gonna
I have
keep.
thoughts. I have thoughts though. She just
You
can't think of it right
definitely
now
do.
because she be
It's
trying
just
to. She
hard.
be throwing me under the bus every other day, but I don't know why she can't think of it today.
Wait. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Um, what was the experience that connected us the most and why?
Hmm.
I'm already knowing.
I think it's this pod, no?
Really?
Yeah, I feel
I
like
agree. But I really feel like
okay, wait, no. I would say that like this pod definitely has helped like build the connection even stronger. Or like we're literally in this together. Like it's just the two of us and God at this point, you know?
right.
Um, but maybe just like our talks at school, like just like actually getting to like hang out and bond. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
But one specific
However,
moment?
I have one I think.
Really? Okay, let's hear it.
I honestly think it was when we first met, like wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
I
because
think
that set
I
the
think
tone for the
he's
rest.
yes, but I think you so badly wanted me to just be a like I,
Yeah.
you just wanted me to be a nigga. Like you wanted me to be like you wanted me to be crazy. You wanted
That
me to
that
be
that.
toxic. You wanted me to be like just wrong. You wanted me to be bad. Like you
Yeah.
wanted me like and I was
We can
like,
actually talk about that a little bit though. I
nah, but
think I've said this. I don't know if I've actually said this to you, which also saying this on the pod is like very vulnerable moment, whatever. But I feel like our relationship, like me and your relationship, has helped heal a lot of like trauma when it comes to black men. And that's crazy. And that may be a lot of pressure on you.
oh my
But
God.
yeah, I think that like the approach that I took a lot of times getting into like friendships with or friendships, relationships, whatever, like with guys and especially black men. Yeah, I kind of just always come with a very large wall up, and I feel like I come on the defense and like I come with my own perceptions. I guess I can speak past tense now because it's definitely changed since like I feel like I met you. Um and it's weird cuz a friend, or I guess yeah, a friend or an old friend had called me out on it. And that's kind of how me and him connected because I was just like off the bat like mean to, like not mean to him, but like I would just give him such a hard time. And I guess he got
Mhm.
sick of it one day and he's like, it's crazy how you feel the need to like always come for me, or like I don't
Mhm.
know, he like just sensed the energy that I was throwing his way and he called me out
Mhm.
on it. So like I had to check myself, and then I started being nice to him, and then like we became friends after that. But yeah, that's actually crazy that you noticed that. You've
I'm,
never said that before. But
that's crazy.
you know, I feel like a lot of black
I
women
love
do
that.
it.
I love that. I love that. Now that is true because I feel like I got use my words. I feel like yeah, sometimes, and this is a thing on both sides, and we could get into it because I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes, a lot of the time, not a lot of the times, those expectations that now, I can only speak from my perspective. So obviously, input yours, and like we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But yes, I do think sometimes like the expectations that come from women, and I'll speak to like black women, they're very much valid and like should be intact and in order. But there's also not much on their side that they're doing to like I'm talking about like from the inside, like personally, not like
Mhm.
tangible things or like giving something. There's not much else. Not all people, obviously. Just people are not willing to actually do the work. We always talk about that, or like
Mhm.
to actually put in effort. Like we say that we want this, that, and the third. Like so, for instance, um I want this, that, and the third in my girl. But it would be crazy of me not to bring something else to the table that matches that or complements that, or in where I'm lacking, she's bettering me, and I know that I lack there, so I want that in my woman, um, or whatever that looks like. So yeah,
Can you
y'all
give an
could give us a
example? Because
hard
I
time.
think that confused me a little bit.
I wanted to. Y'all could give us a hard time. Is just what I'm trying to say. But
Okay.
understandably, why, like so, like I obviously
Yeah.
get it. All we've been through, all these generations, all this stuff we see, obviously. But for me, it would be crazy for me to want, not at this stage, but for me to want my girl to be like have a mature mindset in like financially or like finances, and just like with dealing with stuff like priorities and like what needs to be like at the top of this list, second and third and fourth and so on. And then for me not to even have a care in the world how I spend my money, or to not be like managing the way where my funds are going and how I'm even thinking about this relationship and maybe in the future this household. You know what I'm saying? So that would be
Yeah.
crazy of me to have that expectancy. Though I still want to rule that in that form of the household, like though I still want to rule the household in that form, and kind of do want to like spearhead with the finances so she doesn't have to worry about it. It would just be crazy of me when dating not to kind of have it together then, or you know what I'm saying? Or I don't know, I'm trying to think of something else, but I don't know. But do you kind of get what I'm saying?
A little bit. However, I'm gonna kind of backtrack just because you got to, I guess, say your little piece, and I'm just gonna step in and just, I guess, speak a little bit
Tar
more to
loves
my.
to argue. I'm gonna warn your man about that too. He wanna argue. So walk away.
Dang.
So walk away.
I don't think that I love to argue. I just like to really dig deep on,
Dig deep.
like I
You're
like
right,
to
right,
pick things
right,
apart, you know.
right, right, right.
Um, but no, I would just say that I think speaking, I can't speak on behalf of all Black women, but speaking to my experience, and I feel like maybe what my friends have expressed that they've experienced in the past or whatever, it just seems, I don't know, just feel like actions a lot of time that y'all may be receiving as Black men, um from us, it just comes from a place of like, obviously you you
We
don't.
perpetuated it, so it's just a reaction.
Right, but it's also just like, we don't come out the womb having a jaded
Right.
perception towards Black men. Like, we have our eyes peeled, we're very observant as we grow up throughout different experiences, whether it's from our fathers or from our brothers or from men in our lives or just people in society and culture in general. And then also just like the things that we're taught as Black women from our mothers or whatever, like just how we're supposed to carry ourselves or like what to expect. It's almost like somewhere along the line, like that guard is put up. And again, I can't speak for all Black women, but I know for me, like somewhere along the line, the guard got put up, but I didn't even recognize it was up. And it did
Hmm.
take somebody genuinely calling me out on it. And also me being in a place where I was ready to receive that, because I think if someone had called me out on it maybe earlier on, I probably would have like gone off or reacted in a way that was like not even like ready to receive it.
Conducive.
But
Yeah.
just the space that I was in, like I was trying to work on myself, and I think that like I was able to receive the message like in a way that didn't take immediate offense, because I was like, wait, you might have a valid point, because I have
Hmm.
gone through things in life, and like that wall was probably was definitely put up because of like to protect myself in a sense, or because honestly majority of the Black men that I was around did perpetuate the same actions like consistently. So it was like, oh, I don't even got to know you for real, I just already know how you're coming. But I'm, like I said again, I'm so glad that you really helped to prove that wrong. But I also think that that is why when you acted the way you acted that day, I was like, wow.
Y'all, I just
Like,
also want to give like a visual representation, but also too, I want to talk about that first. One thing you could warn her about is that even though I agree with the side that we may be talking about, I'm always gonna offer devil's advocate. So that could come off as toxic. But so you might want to warn her about that. But to your point,
yeah.
is it fair to hold somebody to that, or just any and everybody? Obviously, we're not talking
Oh,
about but we're not talking about the unconscious things because those we can't help
yeah.
until like we're getting checked or we want work on ourselves. But the conscious decisions that we make to like hold people to some standards, a person we've never met, a person who we don't know, is all obviously all the basic things should be in intact and in order.
Mhm.
But is it fair to like hold somebody to a certain degree that they may not even be aware of, or that they may also be acting a certain way because of their life experience too.
Yeah.
Um,
I
Even
think
as
that's
Black men, like a lot of us, not a lot of us, but Black men have also grown up without fathers. I'm one of them,
mhm.
or we've also grown up without the right father figure. Some people have fathers or
Mhm.
have male figures in their lives, but they've learned from the people who've also been doing the wrong stuff. But it's just a cycle. Just I first of all, I think to me, all roads lead back to slavery. They did a big work on us. But getting past that is that I don't know. That's just my devil's advocate.
I think I definitely hear you. And we're not even arguing at this point because we definitely are able to see both sides of it. I just think that there is like, I again can't blame a person for acting the way they act when they grow up as a product of their society. Like, I
Yeah,
think that there is wisdom in wanting to guard your heart and wanting to protect yourself as a woman from being
yeah, for
hurt,
sure.
because
Yeah,
it's like, and it sucks too obviously, but I think that's why it's so important to constantly, check yourselves as individuals, like woman, man, whatever. Like, check yourself. Like, know where your heart is at, know your intentions, but also being self aware allows you to like see through other people and their actions as well. Um, and communicate that and know how to communicate that, but also hold grace and space for other people to like recognize maybe where they're falling short. Because I think that, even again, going back to that example with my guy friend, it was like he was able to somehow see something in me that I wasn't able to see or recognize fully. But he was also able to communicate that in a way that grabbed my attention and like actually made me check myself.
Yeah.
Um but I don't blame myself for having those walls up, because I think that those walls up were put up as a way to protect myself from
To
being
protect.
hurt. But I just
Agree.
had to learn that, like you said, like not every person is the same, and it's not fair to, automatically like write someone up off or assume they're going to act a certain way just because that's how you've experienced things in the past. Because I've always said, like, I'm a firm believer in, when you're making a friend, right? You meet somebody, and let's say that the person you're meeting, one of your friends that you're already connected to has had a negative experience with that person, and they want to be in your ear talking about why you can't trust them, why you shouldn't be friends with them, whatever. But it's like, I've always been a firm believer, and I don't think that it's fair to not give
To
somebody a
write somebody
chance,
off.
right?
Yeah.
Just because you had whatever experience you had with them. And that doesn't mean that my loyalties don't lie with you. It's just that, why are you telling me who I can and can't be friends with, or can and can't connect with, or whatever, just because people grow, people change,
Hmm.
like, also everyone comes with different energies, different personalities. Maybe that person wasn't for you, but that doesn't mean they're not for me. And it's
Yeah.
like, I feel like that
And
same principle can carry on to just like people in general. It's like, let me like take a step back and not write you off just because somebody in my past treated me a certain way, and I can't see past that with you. You know what I mean?
yes. And sometimes people just sometimes that person, like being that new person in their life, or after somebody else has told you not to mess with that person, you might be that person's breath of fresh air. Or like that person, like maybe they needed to meet someone new. Like you don't
Yeah.
know where they are in their life, in their season. Everyone is always going through something. Like we
Yeah.
live in a world, like we're everyone's always going through something. So they may have, and it's not to say that when people tell us that those things that, like, they didn't have a bad experience, it doesn't mean that, or maybe they did do
Mhm.
something wrong, but it doesn't mean that they also don't deserve a second chance, like to
Mhm.
get it right with people. Like I don't know, I've always agreed with that too. But what I
Yeah.
was gonna say was is that back to us when we first met, y'all. If I could like put it on a movie, I don't even think you know this. You were also so wrapped up in the fact that like you were trying to make sure the event was still happening, going on, like going to the right place, last minute change. But you were genuinely so shocked when I stopped to help. Like I don't know what you thought. Like was I just supposed to walk away and be like, "Oh, okay, like meet you at Shine,"
Bro,
but
like,
like,
that's like, yeah, like, that's what I just didn't. I thought genuinely, like, I thought you were gonna pull up, see that 119 was closed, number one, but also see that it was just the two of us there and be like, okay. And it was like, like the way that I see it, like, also maybe even just a little bit of me projecting, right? Like, we're college students. It's rainy. It was I think it was cold too, right? Like, it was rainy, it was cold. Or maybe it
oh,
wasn't cold, it was rainy.
it was rainy.
It was rainy. No one else was there. You were already kind of inconvenienced because you came early because you had another prior commitment. The building is
Facts.
closed. Like, in my mind, it's like, I'd be like,
Facts.
hope y'all, like, hope it works out.
I
Have a
don't
nice
remember what
day.
I
I'm going back
had.
home.
I don't remember what I had, which that wouldn't have been a bad decision. But nah, no one was there to help you.
Yeah.
Until ZZ and DJ pulled up. But nah, like I was just like, oh, okay. Um now, now, now. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. But that is, I mean, you had
Cause you
everything
like
in the
you like help set up like food, like you like I feel like you
yeah.
went above and beyond. I feel like I don't know.
But
You're right.
that wasn't too much though.
Maybe it
Do
wasn't.
you think that
Maybe
you also do you
my
think that we should
expectations
also
were
change?
just super low. Yeah.
right?
But that's what
Because
I'm
that
saying, like, I don't know
in
what
my
to expect from okay, but you can't don't act like you don't know, like, Q's heads, like, come on, like,
no,
let's
that's
be
what
f
I'm
like,
saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm starting to actually feel bad. Like I'm like, dang, is that really what people do? To me, that didn't take nothing at all. You had everything
yeah,
in your car. Like all we had to do was go to Shine and just set up over here. It's not like everything was already set up and stuff like that. Even if it was, I would have helped because again, it was you and Sakura. Like
yeah,
nobody was there yet. So I'm like, yeah, and Sakura's talking about some. I think other people on Ebor was like about to be late or something. They had other stuff that's coming later. So I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, why not? It was raining again. Um, simple like,
And then that
but
girl was standing outside that sorority house talking about, "You need to move your car right now." She, like, put a cone in front of my car.
right.
I was like, "What
She
is
said she was
going
just about to
on?"
call. She was just about to call the time.
I'm like,
Girl,
"Call who?
shut up.
I was parked for 5 seconds."
Yeah, that was actually sick. But no, that actually kind of it hurts for two reasons. Because I'm like, dang, that's really how people are. But also like two, like I think other guys like that, like my guy friends are the same way. I think they would have done the same thing.
I think
It just sucks because those are the type of guys who are just like me. Like we're gonna stay behind the scenes. Like we're gonna do us, or we don't mix in with everybody else who you know what I'm saying, like who acts like that.
yeah,
So we kind of just keep to ourselves, or we got a girl, so we don't need to be out and about, or you know what I'm saying. Like it's kind of like a if you come around me, you come around me.
yeah. I
Um,
think part of it too, now that I'm actually thinking about it, could be the fact that because of the way I was raised again, I've learned to be so independent, and it's
mm,
like I kind of set myself up in a way where I don't or I don't know, it's a mix of things for sure because I definitely again, when it comes to guys, I think my expectations are super low, and when it comes to girls, I assume that they're always gonna treat me how I would treat everybody else. So it's like with my girl friendships, maybe sometimes I'm a little disappointed because people don't show up how I expect them to, because I expect them to, show up how I show up. But then with guys, it's like I'm surprised because I don't expect you to really give much. And then it's like I'm taught to be like as a woman independent and not need that help. But also in general, I feel like I'm just an independent person overall. So like in
mhm,
my mind, it's like he's not even on this e-board. Like it is not his responsibility to help at all. So why would he? And like also it's my expectation on myself to get everything set up together by myself. Like or like with
right,
my other e-board members who just happen to be running late. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. But I'm glad that they
right. He
happened.
didn't have to be
I'm
there. Yo,
yeah.
I wish I could have took a video of her, like, because I
I
think like
was
when
so frazzled.
we got to the door. Well, we were already there. You pulled up, right? And we were like, yeah, it's closed. Like you came, we were like, yeah, it's closed. Like no one's here. You were like looking inside. And I was like, and I think what had happened? Something else happened, and then we were like, well, let's just go to Shine. However, we decided we were gonna do it in Shine, right? We get to Shine, and I'm like, yeah, like all right with you, like let's whatever. Because I think you had already started bringing the stuff, and you was like, we was like, nah, like let's go
Yeah.
or something like that
DJ
happened.
DJ was
And
at the
your
door
face,
because huh?
yeah. I
Yeah,
was just
cause
gonna say,
I had picked up Chick-fil-A. So I had the Chick-fil-A catering bag and he, like, was holding the case of water or something. And then you, like, had walked right up, like, right after we got there, and it was closed. And then I was like, "I don't know what to do." But then I FaceTimed Zakora because she was walking towards
oh
119
yeah, with her friend.
with
Oh,
her
I thought we were
resident.
already there
Yeah,
before you. Oh, okay.
yeah. So
But
then
your
we
face, you were like,
yeah. 'Cause I was also like, "There's no way this is happening." Because
I think
again,
even
the
the whole
whole
time
day
that
had
was
been
happening.
chaotic,
Yeah, it
and then I was like,
was.
"There's no way someone is." Because we were there, like, 30 minutes before the event was supposed to start, so I'm like, "There's
Yeah.
no way someone is this early." Um, I
Well,
don't it
because in
was just
my
a
mind,
lot.
119 is supposed to be open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was just
Yeah.
gonna go in there and chill.
Yeah.
Because I forgot what I had, but I had no intention on staying that long because I was like, I just wanted to come, like, vibe out, catch it if I can. If not, I'm out. Um, but I stayed for a good minute anyway, so it couldn't have been that fast.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, even the whole time I'm setting up, she like,
Yeah, like even when we got into Shine, you could have sat, but you were like, "What do you need help with?" You were pulling out the water. I was like,
right.
in my mind, I was like, "Wow!" Like, I don't know. I just kept like thinking, like, he is so nice. Like, wow, what a great person.
Wow. We gotta do better. And this is not to like sound like I'm better than anybody, but we gotta do better. But I think that is the thing. Like me and my guy, shout out to my boys, Eddie, Olivier, Chris D. Yeah, would have showed up. Like would have got
Yeah,
stuff done. Um, but that's so strange. So what could we do better to support Black women?
that's so heavy, Josh.
Let's tap in. We got the time. Like, what could we
That
do
is
better?
so heavy. I don't know if I should or can speak for all Black women. I feel like for me
Just
personally,
speak.
like,
Like, what could we
yeah,
do better to show
yeah,
up and show our love? Not even on a romantic side. Like,
yeah,
what
as
could we?
friends, yeah, just as
Yeah, like
people,
as
yeah.
people, but especially I think there's power. Like we as Black people need to stick together. We need to learn how to do so. Because it's okay
I
if we
think
don't know.
Yeah, I think a big thing definitely is empathy, just in like empathy and grace, right? Like the ability to see past yourself. But again, that's where I'm just like, I don't know if it really has to do with Black men specifically. Like, yeah, maybe more so Black men or men in general need a little bit more empathy and a little bit more grace, not only for yourselves, right? But for other people. But I just think it's for people, like just to speak to humanity in general. Like I think that we do need to carry a lot more grace for people and be a lot more empathetic, but also just be able to step outside of ourselves. Like we talked a little bit about this in the first episode, I think. Just like being able to be present in every moment beyond just thinking about yourself, but also recognizing where you are, who's around you, why y'all are there in the first place. Like, I don't know. I think that when you're able to take a step back and just like put yourself in other people's shoes, but also, recognize how you're feeling, check in with yourself, be aware of the fact that if you're having an off day, that like if you're aware that you're having an off day, not to project that onto other people, but then also like recognize how other people are feeling. Like it's just like a combination of things. But I think that empathy, self-awareness, vulnerability, um,
Vulnerability is a tough one,
yeah,
um, especially for men, because we're just not taught that.
yeah.
Um, I was gonna say something though. You had just said,
And communication's a really big thing. I wouldn't say that. Honestly, yeah, because when you kind of think about like male relationships, because me and my girlfriends, we talk about this all the time. Like, what do guys talk about? Like, what are y'all talking about when you're in the room together? Because it's like the way that, again, I don't want to like generalize for you guys, but it kind of seems like this is the consensus. It's like the lack of communication skills or just the lack of emotional maturity is insane, especially in our age, right? Like at this point, we're grown. Why can't you communicate? At this point, we're grown. Why are you still emotionally five? Like, um,
I think too. It has a lot to do. Um, it has a lot to do with how you. To me, my mom, my parent, my family, they always say like it always starts at home.
mhm,
So at this age, if you're still getting away with talking to your mother, your father, or whoever like you're reporting to, less or not like getting things done or like if you're still getting away at this age like talking to them in a certain way and you're not really like getting deep or maybe there's like some sort of shielding your relationship that you haven't been able to practice, like how to effectively communicate your feelings to someone or your concern or whatever it is. Like you just don't know how to like effectively talk about stuff like below the surface level.
mhm,
If that is what that relationship looks like with your parents, unfortunately, that's it trickles off, and you try to compensate for that in other areas, or you may even try to like do that with somebody else, but you don't know how to do it accurately or effectively, that's conducive
Mhm.
with people's time. So you slip up and you mess up, or you do something crazy, or you do something without knowing that it was a problem, or like not saying something, or not showing up. Like you do that, but you don't think about how it has an effect on the person you're talking to. Like you don't think about what the effects of your actions are to other people. So I think that
Yeah.
can be an issue.
You
But
know
also, go
okay,
ahead.
finish your
No,
thought.
go ahead.
Yeah, just in response to that, I fully agree with that. Like, I do think ideally, right? Like, communication skills, like emotional maturity should be like taught and nurtured within the home, like between parent and child and even like siblings and like whatever. But I feel like the reality is, especially within the Black community, I can't really speak for any other community. That's just not really the case. But I also don't think that it's an excuse because it's not the case. Because when you look at like our family setup, right? We want to talk about, again, speaking specifically to our situations. Like we grew up in households where, well, I can speak for me, but like it wasn't the best like unit. Like my parents just like, had problems within their relationship and then eventually like got divorced. And I don't know, when I look back on my childhood, I wouldn't necessarily think that like my communication skills and my
Right.
ability to be emotionally mature was nurtured or like came from my family, and at no fault of my parents, because also like my parents were immigrants, so they were also hustlers, and like everyone is busy, like that, like it's just, that is just how home was, right? So I didn't even, it's also just like the whole dynamic again with like being immigrants, but then it's like the whole parent to child relationship. It's like you're always
Yeah.
like, your parent is not your friend. So it's like the way that I would eventually in the future learn to communicate with my peers was never the way that I was learning to communicate with my parents. Like the things that I felt comfortable talking to my parents about were not the same things that I would feel comfortable talking to my friends about. In the sense that like with my friends, I was sharing a lot more. And I talked a lot more, casually.
Same.
But with my parents, it was a lot more, there was a lot more respect there. And like we weren't talking about everything for real. So
Same.
I definitely see your point and agree to it. And I think that in a perfect like world, yeah, that definitely is how it should be. Or even just like maybe not even a perfect world, like just in a home that like sees communication, emotional maturity as something to prioritize and like genuinely nurture in your children, then yeah, of course. But when that's not what is even like taught, or that's not what's prioritized in the home, or like maybe like it's
Because
just
it's
not
difficult. It's difficult
right.
for Black families. Like
Right, because that's
as a
also a
black
privilege.
as
That's a
right,
privilege
that's
at a point.
privilege. That's a
Right.
privilege that people have. They can open up to their friends. They can come home and unwind.
Mhm.
Whereas for us, um, immigrant people, minorities, um, just anybody in just that POC
Mhm.
umbrella, really, there's a hustle lifestyle. Like we
Mhm.
go to work 9 to 5, or we're working 7 to. My mom worked nights for a long time when I
Mhm.
was a kid. Um, there's always you're always thinking of like, how can I build my family up? How can I get this money up? Because we're still behind. Like slavery did a work on us again. Like we're still behind. We're always still trying to catch up. And our parents' generation saw that battle. They kind of fought that battle the hardest. Like they got that the end of it kind of rough because they're trying to catch up to their right peers. And while we're trying to do the same thing in the spaces that we're in, I think it was much harsher for them because
Mhm.
even like my mom as a nurse, like when she was first starting, I just feel like now that I'm older and really can see clearly through, I'm pretty sure her white friends or her whatever her peers or whatever her classmates were fine.
Mhm.
Whether they may have been stressing about the test or not, it was just the fact that they knew that they always had something to like fall back on. That's what
Mhm.
I see now here is that people it's not it's just a privilege. It's just a privilege because people
Yeah.
here now, like that's what I see is that they're not as you were just saying this other day, all your friends are busy. And we were talking about like we just kind of learn to be workaholics because that's what we're conditioned to do to be able to like
Mhm.
get this money, or a man that don't work that don't eat, or what are you
Mhm.
doing as a black man if you want to be a good man, like yeah, you need to work, you need to be able to provide for your family, you need to be able to do all this, that, and the third. So we kind of conditioned our brains to like always running and going, but then that's when we forget the self-control. That's when we forget the self-work, the mental
Mhm.
health, checking on your physical and well-being, all of that
Mhm.
stuff. Like we forget that it's a privilege to be able to care about those things, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it's just hard. That's just what life is, unfortunately. But yeah, like I was just my white counterparts here, they're never as stressed out as I am. To me,
Yeah.
is what it thinks like. I'm not saying that they're not stressed, but like
Mhm.
I feel like obviously all white people are not privileged in that sense. All white people don't
Right.
have money. But those that do, they're not worried about school in that sense. They're not thinking how does this affect me or like how is this going to affect where I end up next year or how is this going to affect me tomorrow? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because it's
We're
also
constantly go ahead.
yeah, it's also just like the realities of life. Like, I think a lot of times as students, even people in corporate America, just like people who work, right? Like, we forget that life is a lot of times we forget that life is just more than going to school or like being a student or like going to work and like getting the bag. Like it's just the
There's
realities
so
of
much more to
life. Like
life.
it's so much more. So it's like taking school out of the picture when you're talking about your white counterparts, it's like their reality of life is a lot different than your reality of life is. And that affects the way that you think about things. That affects how you spend your time, what you prioritize, because when you're not in school, you're still probably working versus
Right,
maybe somebody who when they're not in school, they're not working. You know what I mean? It's just like
right.
it's the little things and it's also just recognizing that even like on the generational aspect, like what their parents or grandparents may have sown into their lives or are able to sow into their lives in terms of resources may look very different than what you're coming from. So I don't know, it's a lot of layers.
It's a lot of layers.
But that
Um,
it all like affects you like it all it's like a domino effect. It's like a ripple effect.
yeah,
You wouldn't really think about all these little things have to or like have an effect on something as simple or as small, I guess, as communication or like emotional maturity. But it's like, yeah, because when you have so much on your mind or all these pressures, like external pressures and burdens, it affects obviously your mental. And then it's like that actively affects how you're able to communicate, how your emotions like manifest, like how you're able to show up like the day to day. Um,
yeah, and it's just like pros and cons too because that also builds character in us and like builds. I'm not saying that we need to go through trauma to build character or we need to go through certain the bad stuff black people have been put through.
I mean, but
But
when you think about it though, not to
I'm
cut
I'm
you off.
saying I'm saying like it doesn't have to be as like chaotic or as
Yeah,
heightened as
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
stuff that
yeah, for sure.
we've had to go through. But some of it I think is good because just like I was saying about the thing I was supposed to be doing, like people gave up because at the first sign of what looked like it was too expensive or what looked like it was might have been too hard, in my eyes, wasn't that hard for them.
Mhm,
Um, like fight a little more, dig a little deeper, ask a few more questions, get to the right person, figure that out. Whereas for us, like we're gonna dig, like we're not
mhm,
gonna take the first no, because that's the way we've been conditioned. But like now, the way
mhm,
I see it in 2023 is like, yeah, you are gonna get no's, and that goes for everybody, no matter the race or color, whatever. But what are you gonna do after the no? Are you just gonna take that and move on to something else, or are you gonna look that no in the face and like just dig deeper, or see how you can make it work for you? Because nobody else can tell me what they think is good for me and what they like in time doing. Like they couldn't tell me what they think is best for me and for my moves and for my
mhm,
career, like what to do best. If I know that like doing that would have made that, yeah, I'm gonna dig deeper. Like I feel like that would have been the best productive thing to do.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a difference in stuff because that's not like I think there's just pros and cons to it because we're gonna fight and we're not gonna give up. Whereas in that sense, other people may be a little more weaker or um that may be in like when your bratty kids come out or when people who just entitlement, privilege again, like it's a privilege they have to feel entitled to have something or to have a plan of life every single day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Or I
just
guess just like different levels of resilience.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. That was a perfect way to put it. I don't know. It's just weird, man. Um,
Yeah.
I was also gonna to your point about earlier, like what do guys talk about? First of all, it's none of y'all's business. But
Well, we're only wondering because it's like when you talk to some people, it's like,
yeah, there's no
is
substance.
anybody home?
There's not a lot of substance in people's conversation like that. Is anybody home? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I just think it takes a while to like find your good group of friends. But like now, like I'm chilling. We talk about everything. We first bonded over music. But like now, like I'm gonna go do work with them after this. Like we finna tap in. We talk about life. Like I think
yeah.
it's easier to just succumb.
Face.
All right, I'm back. Me and my what was I saying? Oh, me and
But
my
Josh,
guy
you
friend.
also, I will say this for the 1 millionth time, you also have to recognize, Josh, you are one of the exceptions.
Yes, but what I'm getting at is that thank you. What I'm getting at is that people like me because I'm not the only one who is like this. Is what
You're
I
not.
hate that is
Yeah.
I know, but that's what I hate about the media or what I hate about our conversations that when we censor them around like the bad guy is that we're just giving those bad guys too much attention or the people who are doing you wrong. Like we're giving that too much attention. Um, we don't always have to harp on that. I think also sometimes we look for it because it's fun, or it has a plot. It gives us a story to run back and tell to somebody. Whereas guys, the reason why y'all don't know what we're talking about because we're not on social media all day talking about what we're talking about. Like everybody's not in our business.
Okay,
We're not
relax.
like I'm just saying like we're
No, but
not
I
doing
think it
all of
also
that.
comes from a place of us actually observing y'all's relationships and us being like, when y'all are
Yes.
also like, you have to understand that when you look at the dynamic between guy friendships versus girl friendships, like objectively, or I guess stereotypically, it's like girls, we have the slumber parties, we have the whatever where we do get deep and we like, when our girlies like we're locked in. But guys, it's like it's not that y'all aren't locked in, but it's like guys are able to just be friends with everybody. And I feel like because y'all are able to be friends with everyone, it's because
Whoa.
none of y'all actually dig deep. Like, no, no, because let's talk about it. Like, for example, in high school,
You think guys are able to be friends to everybody?
guys walk into a room and within 2 seconds of being in the room, they already have somebody. Like versus when girls walk into a room, it's very much like, and there's pros and cons to this, but I feel like
Really?
because girls like we're to a certain extent, I don't know if it's like our nature, but I think even just in terms of being like more discerning or like girls like like we like look for certain things in a relationship. Like when you walk into a room of girls, like you can already kind of gauge the girls who aren't necessarily for you and the girls who maybe are for you. Whereas when I feel like guys walk into a room, I don't know what y'all are what y'all are looking for,
Really?
but it's like y'all can just somehow find something to connect on, whether it's sports or child, I don't know. But like that's just how it's always like kind of been. But it's also like when you think about it too, it's like when guys are
Really?
like, "Oh, I'm gonna go chill with my homies for the weekend," like all y'all do is just like chill, I guess watch the sports game. I don't know, like y'all have like very surface level conversations and it's like but that's like it seems like y'all are fine with that and like you guys and then it's like I feel like that also leads into like why with relationships it's like I've even talked about this one and now I'm like I feel like I'm rambling. But
I
like
definitely think that I don't like not believe you, but I kind of see it the other way around. I'm not gonna lie when it
what?
comes to
No, because it's like even when I don't want to put her on blast, but I was talking to one of my girlfriends and it's just like a running theme where it's like girls always when you're in a relationship with a guy, it's like you always have to compete with your
that's
guys'
crazy.
guy friends because when guy with guys and their guy friends, it's always like it's never anything serious. Like y'all just play. Like like y'all are just around each
That's
other
what
to have a
girls
good
do
time.
too.
Like just talk about a bunch of nothing. But like it's like when you're in your relationship, like guys seek relationship with girls when like as their partner, right? Like their girls are who they open up to. Their girls are who they get vulnerable with and like whatever. But with their guys, they don't talk about none of that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I know what
but
you mean.
that's
And
so
some guys,
problematic because it's like your girl cannot be the only person that you're digging deep. Like, I can't, as your girl, I can't be the only one who can give you sound advice, who you're vulnerable with, who you feel emotionally secure and safe with. Because it's like, then what are your guy friends there for? Just to have a good time and kick it? Like, nah, like, y'all got to bring more to the table. And like,
I feel like, listen, I, I hear you, and
because
I
when
think
my
that makes
girlfriends,
sense.
like, best believe when my girlfriends, we're getting deep, we're getting vulnerable. Yes, we
But
also keep it
listen,
lighthearted, fun, we play, whatever. But it's like,
right?
I'm not
Because I was just
expecting
about
my
to
man
say,
to be the only person I can talk about my feelings with. What?
I
Like,
don't think that that's the case. I think, well, first of all, here's what I say. I low key feel like Tab and Chance right now, but I low key feel that's not every guy. Yes, I think, and that's what we're talking about. But
right, it's not every guy.
good, the guys that you're looking for and that you will find, their friends are tapped in like that. Their guy friends are also tapped in like that. I
Yeah,
watch my uncles and my godfather and his friends. They're all like my uncles, but they tapped in. Like they talk. They didn't always do it around me because I was young. But as they got older and stuff, yeah, they were locked and they checked on one another. Like your real guy friends. I think
question
too.
though, do you think
I
that that was because they were older? Because
No,
then
because
you also
they
have
grew up. But if you, yeah, what I was gonna say was is that I think it just takes longer for men, especially if that generation,
that.
men in general, just I'm the same way. Like it takes me longer to open up even to a girl. So
Okay, so no,
I
not
think
that. That wasn't what I was thinking.
I think when your guys, they first of all, that group of guys I'm talking about, they went to college together, so they had the time. They put in the time. Like,
Yeah,
um, they all at one point then moved to Houston. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they were
yeah.
tapped in. They were friends. I think it takes time, and like I think too
Well,
as a man, like the same way you just want to feel safe around your guy because you do want to be able to open up. But I do think
but I
there
think it's the same
there
way
are
with girls.
definitely
Like girls aren't just opening up to anyone right away. I mean,
but
not
it's
all
mm,
girls.
right, and I think it's but to that point, girls are more likely to open up faster than a guy,
Yes,
even
yes.
if it's just even if it's just to um like somebody you meet one day and y'all already locked it. Like girls, you're saying that maybe y'all are like least likely to have
But
someone in
I
the room, but as soon as you meet somebody in the room, like y'all are going deeper faster than
but
us
see,
because
and I think
we're
that
still
that
putting our go go ahead.
I think that like what you're saying ties exactly back to our first point where I think it's because girls are just cuz also there's like a whole stereotype that oh, well like you should date an older guy because, you know, guys mature slower than girls. And then it's like where it's like okay, because girls are I guess objectively or like stereotypically more emotionally mature than guys are, at least faster. That's why I think, like I said, when we walk into a room, we're kind of able to gauge or discern whether like this is someone I feel like I can truly connect with and open up to. So once we do find that person, we are able to dig deeper faster because one, there's that level of emotional maturity already there. But then there's also that level of like we kind of like know what we're looking for in our relationships in the first place. And then it's like, you know what I mean? Like I think it just circles right back to our first argument with like being able to effectively communicate, being emotionally mature, like being discerning, knowing how to be vulnerable. Like it's like layers to it. But I think that girls just for some reason have been better at doing that than guys. Not saying that guys aren't capable of doing that, but like just within our age range in general, like that's why so many girls are just like, I'm just gonna wait till we're a little bit older because guys take longer to mature and guys
I
aren't good communicators right now. Or like 9 times out of 10, like the guys our age aren't really
but does
I
that
don't
mean we're
know.
looking in the wrong does that mean you were looking in the wrong places
I
or
mean we're
does
in
it also mean
college. Like
I understand But I don't know. I
I don't
agree with
know.
you. I agree with you, in a sense. However, I'm also thinking about it in another way. I feel like, for instance, like going out or something like being in public, a girl is gonna look after a girl faster than a guy would look after for a guy, a random guy. Like I'm talking about a stranger. If
Hmm.
a girl sees another girl struggling with something, or I don't know
Empathy,
what it is. Yeah, a
empathy,
girl, but
emotional maturity.
it could also be on something lighthearted. It doesn't. I'm not talking about something deep. Like
Yeah,
we're at the store, we're outside. Um, maybe you see somebody about to come holler at her. You like, oh, let me just y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all are easier to click with one another. Y'all be like, oh hey, oh that's my
because I
girly,
think
girly,
it's
girly.
that like
But
that thing that I said that we have where we're able to recognize like, oh, she probably needs my help because like it's like
and that's what I'm saying. Guys are not doing that. So I think even when we're walking in the room, back to that point, we may be able to connect. Like I honestly think it is. Maybe we're just more open to talk, and that is a problem because some people talk without thinking. But
yeah,
like, I don't think that guys are just like off riding people, or that we're just like. I think when you just walk into a room, like you just want to be like, at this point, because I used to be a shy person too. But I'm like, let me just. The thing about the temperature, you always say, like, I'm not finna sit here and be boring like the rest of these people. Turn up. What? Like, how are y'all doing today? What's going on? I walk into a
yeah.
room, I speak because, like, I'm not gonna walk into a room, especially if it's a quiet room. Hello, how are you doing? Like, what's going on? Like, what is this? But I don't know. That's like tit for tat kind of thing because
Hmm.
it is right over here that girls are more obviously more emotionally available. But again, about being a product of your environment, men are like that because we were taught to be strong, can't cry, do all that unnecessary stuff. Like,
I also feel the need to say at this point in this conversation that I think this is more so like a we're just engaging with our thoughts conversation. Like nothing we're saying is like I guess set in stone or like I don't know.
yeah, we don't know
Everything
the
we're
answers.
saying is we're speaking from a place of maybe things that we've personally experienced
Yeah, we don't know the
and
answers
like
to everything. We're just
yeah,
saying.
we're just exploring our thoughts. We're engaging with our thoughts right now. This is an open conversation. There's no like
Yeah,
hard firm
there's no right or wrong. We don't know the
yeah.
answers to everything, y'all. We're just talking and trying to talk this out because we want
Yeah,
better for our
yeah.
generation. But I don't know. I just think that yes, please don't clip us and stuff like that. We don't know. We don't know everything. We just want better
Right.
for ourselves and our generation and our friends. But yeah, that's an interesting conversation. I just think that
There's definitely a lot
I
more
don't
growth
know.
that just needs to happen all around.
No, for sure. And guys do have to tap deeper. I don't know what the solution is because it's just a lot of baggage too. Like,
Yeah.
um, it's a lot that comes with it. A lot of us were raised by black women or by our moms or whatever that case may be. Like, I don't know. I think also too for guys, like especially speaking of the older generation, they had to work so much if they were like if they had the wives and stuff like that, they had to work so much. So when they got with their guys, that was their moment of release.
Mhm.
So they didn't have to dig deep, right? Like they didn't have to think too critically about their decision. They didn't have to think too much about what was going on.
Mhm.
But I definitely think that it was a safe space. Definitely like grown men, they're tapping in. Like they're
Yeah.
they're talking about their wives, they're talking about they're talking about life stuff for real. Um, maybe the misprint is just it's just a generation that got maybe. I don't know. That's
I don't
interesting though.
either. Yeah.
That's quite the token. We'll let that settle in and soak in with y'all.
Yeah, y'all
I
meditate
don't know.
on this. Hit us
Let us
back.
know what you think. Right, hit us
Right.
back. Comment. I'll put a little question in the chat.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because it kind of ties well with last week episode. We kind of talking about that too.
Mhm.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, that's weird. But what's one thing greater in you?
One thing greater in me. Um, for today, I'm gonna say I've said this before, but I don't think there's anything wrong in repeating myself. Gratitude. Um, no matter how life gets, like no matter how hard or challenging a season may seem like to be, I just I don't know. I can't help but be grateful for like the place I'm in life, like not only mentally but also just in terms of like support that I have around me. And like the hope that I have for the future and like where God is taking me and my friends and my family, like I'm just grateful. And then one thing I wish were greater in me, huh? Mm, maybe joy. And I know that sounds crazy because I just said I was super grateful, but I think joy in the sense that like your joy is supposed to be unending. Like it's never supposed to change. Like I think that as believers we're called to constantly have like a joyful heart no matter like what we're going through, and I feel like the fact that sometimes my joy is like wavering or like I can kind of like lose it means that it like I don't know. I just need more of it.
Yeah, I feel you.
Um but yeah.
Ooh, excuse me, y'all. I gotta get some sleep. Um, that's one thing I wish was greater in me was rest. That is
Yeah.
in my prayer. I ask God when I sleep to give me rest. I don't want to
Mhm.
just sleep. I want to rest. So that's that. One thing greater in me though is greater in me, yeah. Honestly, the ability to say no. That is one thing I have been working on like diligently on, honestly, since entering college. Like, but for sure after freshman year, like I was like, yeah, like gotta lock that in. And it's hard. It's just hard. Like I'm pretty sure everyone kind of struggles with that. But recently I've noticed that like it's just been better to do so. Like easier to just say. Because it's always like how you say things, right? It's not always just like no. And sometimes when people don't accept that no, you kind of just have to keep saying it until they hear you.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I was about to sneeze, y'all. The weather is changing. It's actually very cold. But yeah, I've been doing better about that. Because I've really just been trying to protect me and myself and my speech because I know who I am and like I know that like I look out for a lot of people way more than they look out for me and just way more in general. Like I just think about people
Yeah.
um way more than they do for me. So I've noticed that I've had to give that same respect to myself, that same love. And it's not a bad thing that those people don't look out for me. I just may be doing it too much
Yeah.
is the sad thing. So yeah, just been moving down on that. Um, did your AC just turn on?
No, a motorcycle just drove by.
Oh, I'm like, dang.
Dang, it was
All
loud
right.
then the mic picked that up?
Yeah, I did.
I'm surprised you I hope you haven't been able to hear my mom because she's been on
I
phone
was
calls.
just about to say I heard her a
Oh,
little bit, but only when it gets, only
nah,
when
she
it
be
gets super
loud,
silent.
y'all.
She's loud. Only when
Like,
she
not the
gets
mic. Maybe I gotta turn
no,
the
it's
volume down.
I told you that, but it's only when it gets like quiet, like when you're thinking like in between. It's not bad at all. It don't matter. They can hear your mama talk. This is real life, y'all. Tap in. We're not trying to.
Apologies.
Don't. We're not apologizing. This is real life.
No,
Okay.
quiet on set. Because she knows I'm recording.
But nah, she handling business, so she got to kiki kaka with her friends. Like,
Yeah, you're right.
listen, okay. But yeah, y'all, thanks for tuning in to Josh and Tara
Thank
featuring her mom.
you.
We had a great time. Yeah, keep the conversation going. Comment. I might post a little question in the comments so y'all could, but y'all better respond. Don't make me look crazy. But
This was such a
Yeah,
good like
y'all.
conversation.
This was nice. I want to
Yeah.
keep this going. We need to keep this going with a guest though. Stay
Yeah.
tuned for that
I
though, because
agree.
that'd be nice. Yeah, we could really do something with that.
Mhm.
All right, y'all. Don't forget to tap in with the Greater with Me. Keep us in the loop. Let us know how you feeling, what you thinking, like what's going on. Would you respond to the questions on Spotify? We drop like a little conversation starter question every week with that too. So, if you're watching this on YouTube, head over to that and
Mhm.
respond to that.
Also,
Or if
speaking of
if you're listening to
Spotify,
this, go over to YouTube. What's up?
feel free to leave a little rating. That always helps.
Do that on everything. Listen, y'all need to subscribe for real to the YouTube. Leave a
Right.
rating on Spotify. Leave a rating on
Please.
podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We actually are on a lot of platforms that y'all probably not even using, but we're there. I know
TikTok.
we on Sam. We're
Hello.
on TikTok. Yeah, follow us. Tap in for real, y'all. Like tap in. But also like we on Samsung Podcast. We're on Title.
Really?
We're in a few other stuff too. Yeah. Yeah, we locked in for real. I know, but we out there. So we trying to give it to y'all, give it to us back. Okay. We just want to receive. We just want to reciprocate things.
Amen. No.
We're a family. Amen. No. Like, all right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, man. Bye.
Bye. Okay.